Don't become too digitally dependent. Hope I said that right. Digitally dependent. Nowadays, people hold a lot of regard and they hold strongly to the reputation based on their digital impact, how many followers they have on social media, and what people say in the comment section, and direct messages, and what's on their news feed when people scroll by it. People depend a lot on that. I believe it's created a lot of problems with how we interact with people. For one, we just don't interact with people face to face in general as much, which I think is a problem because there's never going to be a time where the face to face human interaction is not going to have value. We depend too much on digital entities, in other words, being far away and not face to face with somebody to communicate. And you can see how communication has broken down really in recent years. The internet heavy social media era, it's broken down. If you understand what I'm saying, you'll realize that there's nothing that beats seeing someone eye to eye, giving a handshake, a hug, a fist bump. If somebody's being confrontational with you, looking them in the eye and handling the beef mano y mano, there's a lot of value in that. And I have reason to believe that a lot of the vitriol and a lot of the anger, a lot of the isolation and loneliness comes from us trying to replicate that face-to-face interaction with digital distant means. And it's really sad. It's sad because there's a lot of people that have lost touch with their humanity before it even got started. One thing people are afraid of nowadays and in recent years is the whole idea of being canceled. You know that term cancel culture, where if you say something wrong on a social media post or a tweet or a comment or something, then your reputation is going to get ruined and people are going to drag you through the mud. And one thing I've noticed about that is the people that do the dragging, isn't it funny how they all tend to be saints? They've never done anything wrong. They've never said anything wrong. They've never said anything offensive. We've got people either backtracking or trying to overcompensate, acting like they live this holy and perfect and socially acceptable life. For example, we got people overcompensating for sexual immorality in all ways, as if they never made a gay joke in their life, in their past. And they'll do everything they can to cover up, because if it ever comes out that they said something 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, then, I gotta backtrack and I gotta apologize and I gotta cover it up. And why don't people just be honest with themselves? Okay, we all make jokes and we make fun and it's really not that big of a deal. But because everyone's trying so hard to overcompensate because they don't want to get canceled on a digital entity, really, that's just stupid. Think about it. Somebody says something to you online, you don't know their face, they're probably hundreds, thousands of miles away from you, and they're a saint because they don't have to put any of their dirty laundry out there. Here's what you do. You turn your computer off. You turn your phone off. Or you close the post. Or you don't entertain it. I just thought of those off the top of my head. Those are easy solutions you can do and not have to put up with it. We give the weak and the cowardly too much power in this world. If you don't say something that I don't think is nice, or if you say something I think is offensive, then you're gonna what? Not listen to my post? You're not gonna watch my video? I don't care about that. It doesn't affect me in any discernible way. The only person that I'm trying to impress out here is God. And that's how you should be too. You know that God has already paid the price for your salvation. He loves you that much. So really, his opinion is the only one that should ultimately matter. Why do we care so much about opinions of people that will likely never meet face to face, that are hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away from us, that won't even show themselves, that I bet you if you actually saw them face to face, they wouldn't talk all that stuff they talk on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all of these things. They'll be polite, or they probably just walk by and keep on moving. And that's how it is. I remember a long time ago, and the memory's pretty vague, but the message stands with me. There was an interview with, somebody interviewed Bill Maher, and I'll just put that out there. I'm not a fan of Bill Maher and his general views on life, but it's just resonated with me. And he did an interview where, despite all the things that he said that have been controversial and outspoken and this and that he could only recall one time where somebody actually confronted him physically face to face and was rude to him. Now, if you think about it, somebody who makes a living out of talking, you're going to say things that rub people the wrong way. You know, no matter what side of the equation that you're on, no matter what your viewpoints are, you're going to rub somebody the wrong way. And he does this on a regular basis. I think his show comes on, like every week? And for one person to have the boldness to come up and be rude and confrontational really says a lot of what people have within them. Most people are cowards. They really are. On the rare instance that somebody comes in confrontation with you, there's still a small percentage that they actually, physically attack you, try to hit you, slap you, pull a weapon on you, something like that. So your chances of being confronted to the point where there's an actual imminent danger to you is very few and far between. And chances are, if you're watching this, you're not famous. You're not world famous. You're not like Bill Maher or somebody that has a TV show where millions of people are watching. And out of all that, one person comes up and, I remember you said just being rude, like not the person beat him up, not the person tried to hit him with a baseball bat or something. The person was just rude. That's what most people do. They talk a lot of stuff online, but if they were to see you face to face, they probably wouldn't even recognize you if it hit them, or they would just keep it moving. So that's how we have to move in this life. There was a day and time where if you really had a problem with somebody, you would get the opportunity to see them face to face, and you would do whatever. You would argue, you would yell back and forth, you would get in a physical altercation, whatever it was, but you confronted the issue, whatever it was, face first, head first. And we've gotten far away from that. Now when you have an issue with somebody, you send them a DM or something from far, far, far away. And in that sense, you should just ignore it because, that's too easy for somebody to act like a tough guy. But I really believe that's the reason why we have so much dissension in modern society, especially in American culture, is because we've gotten rid of the confrontational elements. We can make up our identity as to whatever we want to be and not have to worry so much about the face-to-face backlash. We can manipulate our digital selves, and we don't have to worry about somebody coming up and punching us in the face. It's really made people just boldly disrespectful. But the good news of it is, if you're not addicted to social media, if you're not glued to your phone, if you're not glued to the comment section or retweets and DMs and all that kind of stuff, and this is the kind of life that I live, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me. So I can go up to somebody and talk to them like a human being, and I'm not freaking out in my boots. I don't walk up to somebody and have a conversation with them and think that they're better than me, or they're worse than me, or they scare me, or they intimidate me. I just talk to them because they're flesh and blood human beings just like I am. And chances are, I say this with 99.99% certainty, if they do have a problem with me, they're going to do something that's completely out of pocket. Like get into a physical altercation or pull a weapon on me or something like that. See, people just worry too much nowadays. And the greater message of this is how you deal with, your family, your kids, your wife, how does that all impact? You have to be the kind of man that is able to shut down the noise. You operate by the word and will of God, and that is your template. And remind your kids, remind your wife that all that other stuff is noise. This is why I'm so big against letting digital devices and things of that nature raise your children, and parenting being outsourced. I have a huge problem with that because pretty soon, if you cling too much onto that, you start thinking that it's valid. You start thinking that it has some kind of a clout, and it really doesn't. The digital world doesn't have as much power, or doesn't have any power. We just give it such. It's literally as simple as pressing the power button. It's that simple. It doesn't mean you're living an isolated or nomadic life. If anything, it should encourage you to go out and actually have conversations with people, easy conversations, difficult conversations, and actually interact with people. And when you have a problem with somebody, actually go up to them face to face. At worst, talk to them on the telephone and actually hear their voice, and they hear your voice. But you got to do more than just typing some things angrily, putting it on a screen, and then never seeing that person face to face. It's really cowardly. And I truly believe that if we actually talked to people, interacted with people, we would have a much more reduced viewpoint on all these problems that we have in society. This is just a call to stop being cowards. Put a name to a face. Put an issue to a face. If you have a problem with something, be a poster child for it, and be willing to talk to the people that have a problem with you or the people that you have a problem with, and just deal with the problem instead of hiding behind a screen and then living in your own world, your own viewpoints. And don't be afraid to be quote unquote canceled, because what are you canceling me from? I'm still going to use the internet if I need to. I'm just not going to worry about the negative stuff. So you do you. Operate under the will and word of God. That should be your template, and not what a bunch of people that you'll never see what they think. So just my thoughts on that. Take care. Peace. God bless.